Hi folks, Steve the Hurricane here. On today's episode of A Drink with the Hurricane, we're going to continue to discuss hospital marketing. Cheers. This is A Drink with the Hurricane, the home care sales and marketing talk show that discusses all things growing your home care business. Hospital marketing, one of the most important things that we need to do to really scale our business to the multi-million-dollar level and beyond. You know, I'm always talking about this $5 million business because that's a milestone that most agencies don't achieve, that you can achieve. But in order to get that kind of revenue and beyond, you're going to have to get business from hospitals. And this happens to be one of the featured presentations of the upcoming Home Care Millionaires Bootcamp this July in St. Louis, Missouri. Sign up today and save $100 off the full price ticket. Now this slide right here is one of 10 to 15 slides on hospital marketing, and it's actually the second slide under the reconnaissance, because in order to develop a hospital, we have to do our research and our homework. Last week I talked about social media as part of our reconnaissance to get into the hospital. Today I'm going to talk about finding out what events that they have that they're doing on a regular, consistent basis. Because one thing that every hospital has in common is they all have some kind of nonprofit, some kind of charity arm where they give back. And because of that, and think about it from this way, right? Every hospital specializes in something. Cardiology care. I know that the hospital my children are born at, St. Peter's in New Brunswick, New Jersey, that is a specialty in prenatal care, and people fly in from all over the state. It's one of the best prenatal care units in the entire country. So people all across the country come here when they have children or infants that have issues and they get helicoptered in. So because of that, they're constantly doing events to promote this neonatal unit at the hospital and all the surgeries that they do. So whenever your hospital is doing an event, you want to find out what is their nonprofit. You want to find out when they have their events. You want to consider sponsoring their events. I'll give you an example. Robert Wood Johnson Hospital, a couple of years ago, I still get all the emails and invitations and stuff. Robert Wood Johnson Hospital down in Hamilton, New Jersey, which is one of the satellite locations, had this professional beer tasting function. Not a wine tasting, a beer tasting, where they brought in all these beers from around the area, and microbreweries and IPAs and ambers and lagers and you name it, wheat beers. They had it and they brought it in. And it was a fundraiser for their nonprofit. To go to it as an attendee, it was $39 a ticket. To be a sponsor of it, because they asked me to sponsor it, it started at $250 for the business. Now, I did not go to this, but I know other people who did go to it, and they told me it was worth its weight in gold because there was 150 to 175 people there. They were all the executives of the hospital, of the rehabs in the area, of the assisted living communities, of the home health and hospice agencies. Everybody who's a who's who in that part of the industry was at that event because it was a big deal. And it ended up raising like $25,000, $30,000. They did like a silent auction and all this other stuff too. Fantastic event. But just notice who I said was present. Everybody that you need to know to get into a hospital. Everybody that you need to know to get into all of those referral source types. Why? Because when the hospital does an event, everybody shows up. But most of us home care people, we miss the boat. We don't spend the money. We don't understand it takes money to make money, and we have to invest in getting into places that other people can't get into. We don't understand booking a meeting from a meeting and all the things that I go over at the boot camp to help you to connect the dots from this to getting in the hospital and getting the referrals. This is why we want to find out their events. This is why we want to go to their events. This is why we sponsor it. And remember, this is one bullet of a 10-slide presentation on all things hospital marketing. You want to get hospital referrals? You need to come to the boot camp. Sign up now, save $100 off the full ticket price, and I'll see you in St. Louis this July, where I'm going to give you everything you need to blow away the competition.